Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be learning pretty much everything there is to know about ashwagandha, one of the only herbs that I believe that almost everyone should be taking. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, welcome to Nutrition Library, your trusted resource for evidence and research in the field of nutrition and supplementation. If you're new to the channel, I would definitely recommend hitting the red subscribe button below this video and giving this video a thumbs up. For the sake of this video, we're really going to break this down into ashwagandha's 5 primary health benefits. And so the first health benefit that ashwagandha provides is primarily to brain health. The second one we're going to talk about is its effects on stress and anxiety. The third one we're going to talk about is its effects on performance and muscle growth. The fourth one is going to be its effects on hormone health and its effects in balancing our hormones. And then the last one is just going to be its general health properties. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into ashwagandha's first primary health benefit, and that is its benefit for brain health. Now, one of the primary ways that ashwagandha is so beneficial for brain health is because it does something called boosting neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is actually kind of a fancy word that scientists use in order to describe how your brain grows and adapts to certain situations in life, and really how your brain begins to learn. And so when you're able to boost neuroplasticity, you're actually able to increase your brain's capacity to learn in a quicker manner. And so ashwagandha does this primarily by boosting a factor in the brain called BDNF, which is short for brain-derived nerve growth factor. And honestly, I think BDNF and ways to increase it are drastically underutilized and underestimated when it comes to our ability as humans to increase our learning capacity. This study that I'm actually showing you guys right here that was published not too long ago actually shows ashwagandha's ability to raise BDNF 130% above control levels. That is actually more than doubling the control levels of BDNF. And so when you're able to increase these levels, again, it provides a general protection against toxicity in the brain, but also causes your nerves and brain cells to proliferate at a higher degree, causing you to again be able to learn in a quicker manner. The second way that ashwagandha is super beneficial for brain health is it's very, very neuroprotective. And so even beyond its ability to boost BDNF, which in and of itself is neuroprotective and more so neural beneficial in being able to grow neurons, ashwagandha also has the capacity to just be generally neuroprotective in that it protects neurons against toxicity from glutamate and nitric oxide. Now, I know a lot of people in the bodybuilding community that love nitric oxide and its ability to increase oxygenation to the muscle cells while working out. However, when nitric oxide actually gets too high, specifically in the brain and surrounding neurons in the body, it can actually be toxic to some degree. And so ashwagandha does an amazing job at protecting the brain and neurons within the central nervous system from that toxicity. Now, another way that ashwagandha improves brain health is by increasing levels of motivation in people that take it. It does this primarily through what we think is increased adrenaline signaling within the body. Typically, when you think about motivation and the hormones and neurotransmitters that are involved in motivation, we typically think about dopamine. However, ashwagandha has not been shown to influence dopamine in the brain or within the body at all. And so the seen increase with motivation when you take ashwagandha, we think is from the increase of adrenaline signaling, not an increase of adrenaline levels, but just the improvement in the signaling from neuron to neuron when using adrenaline to increase motivation. Now, the last way that ashwagandha is neuroprotective and neurobeneficial is through decreasing an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase. Now, I know that is a very big word, but all that means is that ashwagandha is actually inhibiting your body's ability to break down acetylcholine. Now, acetylcholine is one of your primary learning neurotransmitters. It helps the hippocampus to grow, and it helps the rest of your neurons to remain healthy and in a good state of stimulation. And so when you inhibit acetylcholinesterase, which is the enzyme that breaks acetylcholine down, you will naturally increase levels of acetylcholine in the body and in the brain, which is going to be beneficial for the brain, beneficial for learning, beneficial for just general health purposes and staying motivated throughout the day. All right, so the second way that ashwagandha is beneficial for our health is by its ability to decrease levels of anxiety and stress, and actually decrease our perception of anxiety and stress. And so even within the confounds of not even reducing factors that are causing stress, ashwagandha has an incredible ability to reduce our perception of the stressors that are actually coming at us in life. Now, there are three primary ways that ashwagandha does that, and that is by decreasing levels of a hormone called cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, and by increasing the signaling of serotonin and GABA, which are some of your more calming neurotransmitters. And so with ashwagandha's ability to actually work in synergism by increasing levels of serotonin and GABA and increasing more so just the signaling of neurons that use those neurotransmitters, and by its ability to decrease levels of cortisol, it really helps to promote a state of calmness, but also it's not sedating at all. And so it's also been shown to increase motivation, which is very, very strange for a herb or anything for that matter, to decrease levels of stress and anxiety while also being able to increase levels of motivation. Now, the third health benefit of ashwagandha lies in its ability to increase muscle performance and enhance muscle growth, which is just something that you really don't come by very often in the supplement world, something that has been clinically shown in human trials to do something like that. Now, in this study right here that was published back in 2015 actually shows an incredible level of margin between two different control groups that were used in this study. So this study took a bunch of guys that were untrained, hadn't lifted weights in years, and put them on a training regimen and split them into two groups, gave one of those groups a placebo, and then one of those groups ashwagandha. And what they found was at the end of the study, the group that had taken ashwagandha throughout the length of the study actually increased their bench press 20 kilograms more than the control group, which is just amazing. And it also found out some things such as increased testosterone, increased strength and leg performance, increases in muscle mass and muscle strength in general, which is just an amazing study to come out of 2015 that shows the benefits of ashwagandha. But not only does ashwagandha have a benefit for muscle strength, but this study right here actually shows that it also has an effect on muscle endurance. Now, this study took a group of cyclists that were elite level cyclists. These weren't just guys that ride their bikes on the weekend. These are guys that are getting paid to do this on a regular basis and compete at an elite level. And so it took these guys, gave them ashwagandha for a period of time, and what they found out was that there was an increase in VO2 max, which is really just a measure of how well muscles utilize oxygen. And there was also an increase in time to exhaustion simply by taking ashwagandha. It was almost a 10% increase in time to exhaustion. And so for all of these reasons, this is why ashwagandha remains one of my favorite supplements beyond protein and creatine when it comes to muscle performance and muscle growth. Now, the fourth way that ashwagandha is beneficial for our health is because of its ability to influence and normalize our hormone levels, specifically in men. Now, this study, again, which was previously mentioned just a minute ago, also shows ashwagandha's ability to increase testosterone. And even in this study as well, there is this shown ability of ashwagandha not just to lower cortisol, but to actually increase testosterone simultaneously. Now, the reason ashwagandha is able to do that is because cortisol and testosterone use the same building blocks in the body. And so when you are able to lower cortisol, it will naturally increase levels of testosterone simply because your body has a greater ability and more building blocks in order to build the testosterone that it needs for healthy bodily function. Now, if you're a woman, I really wouldn't worry about ashwagandha raising your testosterone levels. There really isn't any evidence whatsoever to suggest that ashwagandha increases testosterone in women. However, because of the cortisol lowering effects, there is some suggestion that it helps to just normalize all the other sex hormones. And so for females, that would be a normalization of things like estrogen and progesterone. However, these things haven't really been studied yet, so these are just kind of speculation on my end. But not only does ashwagandha improve hormone function through lowering cortisol, it actually does it through increasing something called DHEA, which is short for dihydroepiandrosterone. So don't ask me why I have memorized that. However, when you increase DHEA, DHEA is really another building block for testosterone. So when you increase DHEA, decreased cortisol, it just gives your body way more building blocks to work with when it comes to producing the testosterone that it needs. So when it comes to improving hormone function in the body, specifically for men, but also for women, there really isn't too much else out there that outperforms ashwagandha on a gram per gram basis. Now, ashwagandha's fifth benefit for our health actually involves a ton of different categories, but I'm just kind of summarizing them in what I would call just general health benefits. And so ashwagandha has been shown in several different clinical studies to lower LDL cholesterol, raise HDL cholesterol, which are your main and primary forms of cholesterol in the body. Now, LDL is kind of like what we typically call the lousy cholesterol, and then your HDL is kind of your happy cholesterol. And so when you raise LDL and raise HDL, it improves your lipid profile in your body, which shows ashwagandha's ability to be cardioprotective. Now, ashwagandha has also been shown to be anti-inflammatory and pro-immunity, so it boosts the immunity as well, which is something that you really don't see a lot in really anything. Ashwagandha has an ability to what we would call normalize immune response, meaning that if you're in a state of hyperimmunity and your immune response is going crazy, maybe you have an autoimmune disease, ashwagandha is going to regulate your immune system and kind of helping to lower that immune response so that your body isn't attacking itself, attacking joints, attacking your neurons, and attacking your muscles. but it also has, in instances of infection, the ability to increase the immune response, to increase things like T cells and natural killer cells, which are your white blood cells that are gonna help fight infections for you. So again, there's this very, very unique property of ashwagandha to regulate the immune response and to boost it when needed and suppress it when needed. Now, it's also been shown to be anti-diabetic in a few studies, to boost thyroid function, to reduce the perception of pain in chemo patients, to reduce cellular aging, and to reduce the incidence of cancer, which again is a very big claim and doesn't have a ton of evidence behind it yet. However, the evidence that is there is very promising. So there is so many health benefits to taking ashwagandha, which is why I classify it as one of the only herbs that almost everyone should be taking. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're here on YouTube and watching it, definitely hit a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time.